Okay, we are live. Good afternoon, good evening, everybody. This is your girl Bougie Wild, and I'm coming to you live in full effect. Um, Coming to you all at the Transparent Table Talk. Let's tag some people and make sure it in my group. Before we get started today, we have a special guest here today, Shannon Lowe.
Hey everyone.
Shannon has agreed to join me at the table. Today, we're going to talk about from hurt to healing. As all of you all are aware, I have been talking about Transparent Table Talk for some time now. The whole purpose of this platform is to talk from a humble, transparent, and a vulnerable place. What I've learned on my journey is we all go through the same thing. We all experience the same thing, and society has made us feel ashamed to be able to actually come out and speak about what we go through.
Right.
So we suffer in silence. And what I've discovered is it helped me to talk about it.
Okay.
It helped me to be able, to talk about what I go through rather than suffering in silence and allowing it to go through my head and coming out in society acting one way
Right.
and then feeling behind closed doors, as I call it, coming out being impressive on the outside and oppressed behind closed doors.
Right.
So what I started doing, as I said, I refuse to allow the devil to, be a prisoner in my mind. So let me start talking about stuff from a humble, transparent, and vulnerable place because I ain't got no shame and I don't bear no blame. So with that said, like I said, today we have Shannon here today, and we're going to talk about from hurt to healing from Shannon's perspective. So again, I want to thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
And you know just being willing to be a part of this because, like I told y'all, I'm an amateur at all this, but I have a vision, and I'm taking it one step at a time. And so I just want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this. At the bottom, I'm very grateful. I'm very grateful.
Thank you for having me.
Okay. I mean, we just have an open discussion here today. I saw that you have made some posts. I've been seeing some encouraging posts that you put out there about your experience in hurting. So, the experience you went through from hurting. So, if you want to share some of that with us, just to give us an idea of what hurting to healing kind of help us understand what are we talking about.
So for me, this hurting healing journey has been honestly the most hardest thing that I have ever done. A lot of times when we go through breakups, we don't take the time to heal. We either pass the time by finding something else to do or finding someone else. And a lot of times we don't take the necessary time to heal because being on a healing journey is a lot of work. And with that, it makes you um, get to know yourself. And a lot of us don't know ourselves. We think we do, but we don't. And as far as like for me, this healing journey has forced me to get to know myself and, like you said earlier, not point blame, but hold myself accountable.
Right.
And a lot of people don't want to do that when you're on a journey because, yeah, we can point the finger and say, he did that or she did that, but you got to hold yourself accountable for what you allowed to happen. A lot of times red flags be there and we overlook them for whatever reason. So for me, this healing journey is forcing me to set boundaries in my life, and not just in my personal life, but in friendships, my job, everything. Because sometimes we have friends around us that don't really like us, but they need us for something. We give a lot of time and energy to these jobs and our households and our kids and everything else gets kind of neglected. So for me, this healing journey is forcing me to set boundaries and just getting to know me. I can remember on Valentine's Day, somebody had asked me a question that seemed to be a fairly simple question, but it was actually hard for me to answer. And the question was, what are some things that you want to do that you have never done? And that seems like a fairly easy question, but it literally, I couldn't think of nothing offhand. It was something that took me like a week or so to jot down some stuff because my whole life has been around somebody else. If it wasn't my baby dad for 15 years, it was my soon to be ex-husband for the last 8 years and my special needs son for the last 21 years. So it really hasn't been that much time for me to get to know me. So that's what the journey that I'm on right now. It's hard. I'm at the point now where most of my days are better days, but then it's days where I still do feel some type of way, and I need people to understand that it's okay to not be okay all the time, and you have to trust the process. The hurt didn't come overnight, so the healing's not gonna come overnight. And once you kind of grasp that aspect of it, it'll be a lot easier. A few things that work for me is I try to listen to a lot of motivational speakers and motivational stuff, because when you put positive in, you get positive out. If you have a negative outlook on stuff or around a whole lot of negative stuff, that's not healthy. I journal a lot. For me, writing down stuff helps for me, and it allows me to see my growth. So I can go back like today and write today and look at what I wrote 4 months ago, and I'm a totally different person from what I was then. So those a couple of things that's helping me getting out more, instead of laying in the bed and sucking and suffering, realizing that everything happened for a reason. Sometimes that betrayal be the best thing that ever happened to us.
Growth hurts.
And we don't even understand it, because when you're in the midst of going through, you don't see that. But once you start coming out, you can be like, okay, I needed this to happen. It all was necessary. And at the time, you don't see that. But then once you get, like I said, you start getting a clearer picture. You start realizing that, hey, God had to hurt me in order for me to move. Not necessarily making him a bad person or me a better person. That just wasn't the right situation for me anymore.
Right. And you said something, Shannon, that I experienced when I went through my divorce. It was, first of all, it was a trauma that I went through. It was a trauma. And you said it made me start evaluating all my relationships. It made me start looking at myself and holding myself accountable to see what I was allowing in every aspect of my life. Because it was like when I experienced that trauma from my marriage, it's nothing like you having a marriage and now you're at this place where you say, I didn't imagine being single, but there are some things that I allowed, and now I'm starting to evaluate all my relationships, because when you're in that healing place, you establish those boundaries. It's like you start seeing everything that you were allowing and ignoring, and when you get to healing, you start recognizing, like you said, we become mothers young, we be wives, we be friends, and we never take that time for self.
And self-care is necessary, and self-care is important. For me, I saw this trend on TikTok that I had picked up where I created a self-care jar. So every bi-weekly when I get paid, I pull from it. And everything in a jar doesn't require spending money. It could be rearranging my room, to buy myself flowers this week, or take myself to a nice dinner, do a manicure, pedicure, whatever it is things that I set aside for 52 weeks out of this year to do something for myself. And I'm really enjoying it. I'm enjoying finding this peace that I have, because once you get to a certain level of peace, nothing or no one would interrupt it. Do I eventually, probably someday, would want to date and meet somebody else? Probably so, but right now that is not my main focus. I don't even know what I want.
Right.
So how could
Getting to know self.
Right. To know somebody else.
To truly love yourself is when you looking inward and you recognize, like you said, journalizing. Who am I? Because that's what I went through. I went through like, who am I? I've been so busy focusing on everything on the outside, and then I had to identify so many things I had allowed that was actually, when I reflect upon it, that I was tolerating this. I was ignoring these signs. I was, not taking care of Yolanda because I was so busy, like you said initially, always looking out for others. And when you have that good heart, because that's what I'm hearing, when you have that good heart, it's like a natural instinct that you have when you don't even realize, you know what? Let me start with this good heart. We're taking care of this.
Me. Right. Because when you have a good heart, you
Mhm.
you tend to be an empath, which you
Mhm.
attract a
You
lot
can
of
feel-
damage and
Mhm.
broken people. And not saying that's necessarily a bad thing,
Mhm.
but it's not necessarily a good thing
Mhm.
either. I'm passive. That is one of my weak traits. I'm passive. I don't know how to tell people no, and it's one of the things that I'm working on. No is a complete sentence. I'm learning to tell people no and not feel like I owe people an explanation why. If I
Right.
don't want to do it, I'm just not doing it.
Right.
If it's gonna be something that's gonna hurt me or not beneficial to me, I'm not doing it.
Mhm.
Whereas before, I would talk myself into doing stuff that I wouldn't want to do
Mhm.
to try to accommodate other people. And I'm just at the point where I want to be kind, but I don't want to be nice. If
Right.
that makes sense. Because
Yeah.
you get pushed over. You get, you know.
I read this article, like you said, when you're on this journey, you do a lot of reading, you do a lot of self-studying, self-help studying. And one of the things is that we were conditioned to be nice. You know how as parents, and we tell them, Johnny, be nice.
Right.
Even when the child don't like somebody,
Right.
we'll say, be nice. And it's like that conditioning of our mind has conformed us to be something we're really not, which is in the Bible. I always speak of having a double mind.
Right.
When we really feel some type of way about something, but we'll go against our own intuition, our own energy. It creates anxiety for us just to please.
Right.
You know, just to make sure that everything is calm. And when you said that, you know, that'd be nice, it took me back to one of the articles that I read on myself help in self-love journey is it's okay to be nice to me.
Right. Please do. Choose you first. That's my new motto.
Yeah.
I'm going to choose me first.
Right.
This time and every other time.
Mhm.
And I encourage everybody to
Right.
choose themselves first. Not just women, men.
Right.
Choose you first.
Mhm.
Because when you choose you first, you're not gonna hurt you. You're
Right.
not gonna intentionally
Right.
hurt you.
Right.
You're gonna make
I'm talking
sure
about really in tune with your energy
Exactly.
and being in tune with it.
Exactly.
If it rattle me now, I ain't doing it.
Exactly. If it don't feel right,
I'm not doing it.
If it don't sound right,
Mm-mm.
I'm no longer selling for potential.
Right.
People show you who they are.
Right. Judge a tree by the fruit it bears.
Exactly. I'm just not making excuses or accommodations for other people because what I'm learning, they're not gonna do that for you. Another thing that I'm learning is that everybody's not gonna have the heart I have.
Right.
Like when situations come up, I'm always saying, but if that was me, I wouldn't do nobody like that. And I'm learning that that's just now not how people are.
I had to let people tell me everybody not you. It took me a long time to understand that. Everybody not like you. Like you said, I always say, if it was me, everybody not me.
Right.
Everybody don't think like me. Everybody don't be considerate of other people's feelings.
Right. Because nowadays, my new word is the audacity. It's the audacity for me. The things that people do that they okay with doing to you, but they wouldn't be okay for you to do it to them. So it's kind of like, really? Okay. And like I said, as crazy as this may sound, if I had to do this healing journey all over again, I would, because I am loving the person that I am becoming. I'm not the same me, and that's a good thing.
Growth hurts.
Growth hurts. It really does. But I like the person that I'm becoming. I'm liking the boundaries that I'm setting. You know, and I'm okay if that means that I have to be
by myself. I feel
it. If I have to be by myself.
And I remember when I was afraid to lose people, didn't want to be by myself, and tolerated, stuff just, because I like bring people together. Like, I am a natural person that like to bring people together. But I had to take accountability for myself that Yolanda, you may be out here trying to fix people or bring people together instead of dealing with what you have going on internally. Like, I had to take inventory of myself to say, Yolanda, the things that you allowed was because you had these people expecting this of you, because this was the behavior I exhibited for so long. Like you said, being passive, want to make sure everything remains calm and everything remains smooth, instead and not recognizing how my own spirit was feeling.
Right?
Yeah, how my own spirit was feeling. And when you set those boundaries, people think that now, oh, she switched up, or she changed, or she thinks she better, or whatever the speculations are, instead of a person's understanding that this healing thing takes a lot of tenacity and courage, because you have to forgive yourself.
Yes, you have to, and it's in we all make mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
You have to forgive yourself for the things that you didn't know,
Mm-hmm.
and even for the things that you did
Mm-hmm.
know. You have to forgive it, and you have to forgive them.
Right.
And a lot of people don't want to do that, but you have to. The forgiveness is not for them; it's for you.
Right, because I said I don't want, life will not make me bitter.
Right.
It will not make me, it's going to make me better.
Exactly, because here you are, be bitter and
Mm-hmm.
happy. I mean, bitter and miserable and upset, and they living their best life.
Right.
You can't sleep at night, and they ain't got no curves
Mm-hmm.
in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to pray about that. Like, Lord, heal my heart.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want the sound of His name.
Right.
I frown. I don't want it to be like that, because it wasn't always like that.
I understand.
You have to learn how to wish people well,
right,
and move on. Is it hard? Yes, mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
I still love my husband,
but
I know that that's not the best thing for me.
Right.
And I'm okay with it.
Right.
I wish him well, and I hope he's happy.
Right. I understand.
And whatever he do, because me wishing him not the best, that's cutting out my blessings.
Right.
And I don't have to do that, because the thing about it is, karma is real. So right. Whatever energy you put out, you're gonna get it back anyway.
And then, like the Bible said, we're supposed to keep a clean heart, and what I've learned is, just because you love something doesn't mean it's good for you. Like I tell people, I love pepperoni pizza. I love, different foods, but they give me heartburn. And I mean, I can't eat it.
Right.
You have to recognize what caused you an allergic reaction. And you have to, not what's good to you, but recognize what's good for you. And, I can relate. Like I tell my children all the time, I love my ex-husband dearly, but I had to realize that it wasn't good for me. It wasn't good for me. And when, when they said, when you love something, let it go.
Right.
You got to, I love you to where I want to see you happy.
Right.
I want, because I see this over here when you weren't happy with this.
Right.
So, let's not live in a chaotic life, and I think the conditioning of how society has conditioned us, like we supposed to be okay with just having somebody,
or being in something toxic,
being in some type, making it normal,
or being normal.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll tell anybody,
mm-hmm.
a lot of people stay in relationships
mm-hmm.
or marriages because
mm-hmm.
the children or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And I understand that, but your children don't get grown,
right?
So when your children have gotten grown and moved out, you still in the same
mm-hmm.
unhappy place that you was in. Life is short.
Mm-hmm.
And if it's nothing else that I ever take away from anything that my husband ever told me, he always told me, you worry about stuff too much. Stop letting stuff worry you. You're going to get ulcers.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to make yourself sick. And that didn't resonate to me until now. I said, that make a whole lot of sense.
Mm-hmm.
Quit worrying yourself over something you can't control. Quit worrying yourself over what God had already had planned for you.
Mm-hmm.
This was for a reason, and it's okay.
It's okay.
Take the lesson from it and move on.
Mm-hmm.
And so
Mhm.
this the place that I'm in right now. Am I anywhere near the end of my healing journey? Absolutely not. But I'm not at the beginning
Right.
either.
Right.
I'm taking it one day at a time because, like I said, for the most part, I have a lot of good days. But then every now and then, it may be a song I may hear, or I may scroll through Facebook memories and a picture may come up,
Right.
and that type. But I'm learning, that it's okay.
Mm-hmm.
I'm human. I have feelings.
Right.
These are what these and it's okay for me to accept all of these feelings, whether they hurtful. It's okay for me to cry if I want to cry today. I'm not gonna make myself feel bad or feel like I'm supposed to be at a certain place because my journey is my journey, and your journey is your journey. But I encourage anybody to get to know yourself and what you like. Choose you first. Don't settle because you feel like you got to have somebody, because social media will make you feel that way. And it's a lot that go behind it. People can post pictures all day saying they happy and in love, and you can know these people in real life and know that they was just arguing the day before. You have to take social media with a grain of salt. People gonna majority post their happy moments. They're not gonna post
their highlights.
their highlights. They're not gonna post their failures. That's just like that's everybody. People gonna post the good parts. They're not gonna post the bad parts. But it's okay to have those. We aren't perfect.
And that's when you said about happiness, I said if everybody could wake up in the morning and say, forget it, I'm finna be happy. Like what true happiness is. I see, how many people quit their job, say I want a divorce, and just change their whole life. And that's what happened to me. I made a decision. Is it hard? Yes, because it's literally retraining your mind.
Right.
It's literally, anytime you change something, you're gonna have resistance. So that's why you talk about these days I'm on this emotional roller coaster. Some days I cry. Society want to make us feel like, girl, don't cry. What you crying for? It's no rain, no flowers.
Right.
It take, all of that rain we had. Have y'all noticed how the flowers done bloom?
Right.
Trees that was a couple weeks ago, they had no leaves. Them trees got leaves on them now. So, I associate this journey I'm on with the seasons. I associate it with the different weathers like rain, sun. I associate it, just like sometimes you get a windstorm come through. Sometimes we get a tornado that happens. Sometimes an earthquake happens. Like that's how our life occurs.
Right.
But regardless, at the end of the day, the sun, the day before, remember that day it snowed one day.
And then the sun was out the next day. Literally, it had milk. It was like, okay, really?
So, that's how I'm starting to look at life and getting to know who I am and getting to know my emotions. Like, I had to realize, Yolanda, I've been divorced since 2019. And I've been single. And I've been single because I choose to be single. I've been celibate for like 2 years now. Because I was still dibbling dabbling with my ex-husband, even after the divorce, but it got to the point I was like, Yolanda, you can't do this no more. And so I've been celibate for like 2 years. And these 2 years, this year was the first, I just cut him off totally. I was still, I realized this year I was still emotionally attached to him. And this year I cut him off totally because I said, Yolanda, you divorced this man because of what y'all were going through. You still emotionally attached because as a woman, we all want that family structure.
Right.
That's what we hold on, because when you know who y'all, I don't like being out in the streets. I have a good time. I know people may think I'm wild or whatever on social media, but my kids will tell you, I be at home by myself. You know what I'm saying? I don't move like that. Like it's one thing for my alter ego, bougie wild, but who I am as a person, I know who I am. Right. Like I value myself. I have something to offer. Exactly. And like you say, it's very hard out here when you have these standards and you really can't talk to anybody about it because the average female be like, girl, especially our age, a lot of them on this young tender stuff.
Right.
So it's hard to talk to somebody about it when you say, you know what, I know what I want. I'm going to remain steadfast. Look, the word already written. Let me go by this word that's already written because this is the life I'm creating for myself. And, then people tell you, well, the world messed up. Well, what about it's good people?
It is. But they overshadowed by all the bad people. They overshadowed by all the negative and drama. It's just like if you go on social media, you can have a post and somebody saying something positive, encouraging, and it may be 20 likes, but it may be some drama or some tea, and you got 2,000 because people like toxic, people like drama, people like mess, people like chaos. For me, I'm just in a place where I just want positive energy, positive people, that type of stuff.
Humble, transparent people around that don't have the mask on, that acting like, don't get me wrong, I ain't trying to be no Betty Bob, being the poor me. But I'm saying, like you said, if we friends and we cool or we, don't, it's okay. If you want to cry today, it's okay, Shirley. Right. It's okay. Right. I ain't a girl. What you crying for? Look, I ain't gonna sit up and harbor it in, and people don't realize that's why a lot of folks sick and stuff.
Sick, depressed, committing suicide, all different type of stuff because they don't have. And don't get me wrong, because everybody don't feel comfortable talking to everybody.
Right.
That's why I said maybe journaling your option.
Right.
Because you still, it's a form of expressing yourself and letting it out. And like I said, with the journaling option, it gives you a way to go back and see your growth. And it'd be kind of funny because you will be like, damn, was I that? I can't believe I was that stupid. Or I can't believe, but it's also a good way, a reflection. Yeah, because you can be like, look at me. Every day I was crying this whole month. And look at, this month, it ain't been that bad. I can see, where, say I got out. Today I did something for myself. Today I'm not moping around. Today I'm not letting myself go. Because I know for me, when I first dealt with her, I was taking it so bad it was physically making me sick. Like I didn't eat for like 10 days. I had lost like 18 pounds. My hair was coming out. Like it was physically taking a toll on me, and I was like, I gotta get myself together. And people don't really understand how hard it is to go about your daily life and your daily activities. Like everything's going on, and you one person asking you are you okay from you busting out the crying, but I knew that I had my baby, and that's what was the motivation that kept me going. And I was like, don't get me wrong, I'm not mad about the weight loss. I needed to lose the weight, but of course I didn't want to lose it their way. But again, sometimes we have to go through these things, because if not, we'll keep settling and tolerating stuff that was never gonna change. That was never gonna change. So I'm realizing breakups are okay, divorce is okay, starting over is okay, losing friends is okay. Being happy is better. Being in a happy place, being at peace is my main focus. I couldn't wait till the day that I could sleep through the night.
Right.
When you have something on your mind like that, where it's waking you up every hour on the hour and just getting a good night's sleep, I couldn't wait till the moment that I was able to get there. And I've just reached that point this month where I know I'm getting some good sleep, where you wake up and your mouth tastes nasty and you know that you done slept good. That was a big accomplishment for me. A big accomplishment for me was what happened that consumed my thoughts all day. I am learning to retrain my thoughts when my mind starts going there. Let me focus on something else. Let me focus on something positive. Let me focus on something else. Because you worrying about stuff that you, first of all, can't control, and these people still living their life. You got to move on and live yours. So that was the start of me making the morning messages. So these are the morning messages that I post every day on my Facebook page are actually conversations that I've had to myself.
Okay.
So everything that I post has been things that I have told myself. They're life lessons that I've learned or the conversations that I have with myself. Like, people show you who they are. Stop seeing their potential. That was a conversation I had to have with myself. Stop trying to see the good in people and see what they showing you, because this is what it is. Like the post I posted this morning. Let people do what they want to do so they can show you what they rather do. Because a lot of times,
I'm listening.
I lost my train of thought. A lot of times, things, like I said, the things that I have been posting are the things that I've actually been going through.
I understand.
So, like I said, a healing journey, like I said, is definitely not for the weak. I have autistic son, and this is definitely harder than raising my son. But again, the reward at the end of me learning myself, bettering myself, being a better Shannon, being a better me, I'll do it. I'll do it again.
Right. Because like I had to, on the healing journey, I asked God. I said, God, why did I accept this? Like for a long time, I used to just pray and cry and ask God, why did I go through this? And like on my healing journey, God showed me like in a vivid movie how and why I allowed the things that I allowed. And I had become a teenage mom so young. Becoming a teenage mom, I realized I went out in the world insecure. Although I may have had the things that society saw as, oh, she got a nice body, she drive a nice car, she got a cute face. But at the end of the day, I had to sit back and say, why did I allow this?
Right.
Why did I allow this abuse? Like, that was the hardest part for me.
Right.
Was actually looking inwardly and saying, why did I allow this? Okay. And then, now at this point, the line is drawn here. This is the line. And Yolanda, you got to protect your energy. You got to protect your time. You got to protect your mind.
Right.
And you can no longer live a subconscious life, but live a conscious life.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying?
Saying?
You got to consciously make this choice. No longer live what was conditioned in you or what you were used to. That's just like, that's why I was showing people when you go to the gym, when we be going to the gym, we be like, I'm going to work out. And then after a few weeks or something, our muscles get sore and our body start resisting that change.
Yeah.
That's just like on this healing journey. Right. Our mind resists, and that's why we have them days we stop and cry.
Yeah.
Because our mind, we're telling our minds that you're getting ready to see things different. You're consciously looking at this. Like you said, Louise Hay is somebody I study a lot. And she talked about healing. She has this program that I listen to. And I'll sit there sometimes, Shannon. It's a 4-hour book, and I might sit there and just listen to it until I fall asleep, and wake back up, and just listen to it. It's like God will shake me at that moment. Do like, I want you to hear this part, And they have helped me to live a conscious life, in establishing those boundaries, like you said, putting those practices. Actually not just living that subconscious, but a practice on what is good for me. Recognizing what is good for me. Because when you sit down, for years we'd be saying God is good, God is good. But I had to realize, did you know what good is?
Right.
But now that you know, and you made this choice that I'm going to be good for me, I literally lost so many people out of my life because I set boundaries. Because I said no more of sitting back in unhealthy relationships. I'm talking when I went through that trauma with my husband, a lot of relationships that I had to evaluate and say no more. And let's communicate. It's like in the community, in the Black community, we can't even have courageous conversations. Sophia Nelson taught me that the 12 keys that she wrote, her 12 nuggets in her book. Like she said, we should be able to have those courageous conversations. Right. We be as adults or sit back and be scared to speak our mind. I tell people, I say, I speak from a humble, transparent, and vulnerable place because I'm back like a kid. You know how the kids don't tell you, if I don't want to be your friend, I don't want to be your friend. Yeah. I'm and it's not to offend anybody, but I had to learn to love me. Right. I had to learn to keep my heart pure. I had to learn to. I don't want to walk around with resentment. To resent somebody, to be mad. Girl, those energies are low,
and it takes too much. It takes too much. It takes too much, and we on borrowed time. Mm-hmm. We don't know, what the next 5 minutes hold, let alone talking about the next day. Mm-hmm. So why don't you do something? Why don't you choose you? Mm-hmm. Why don't you choose to make you happy? Like, that is my slogan for this year. I choose me. Mm-hmm. I choose me this time and every time. It's okay to be selfish. It's okay to put yourself first. That does not make you a bad person. Mm-hmm. It does not make something wrong with you. It's okay to do that sometimes. Mm-hmm. It's okay to love yourself, because if you don't love yourself, how can somebody else love you? Or if you don't know your own self? Right. So
that's what I tell my children, Eric and Harmony. I said, I wish I had known this going out in the world. I said, until you get to know you, I said, love who you are. It's like when we teenagers or whatever, we compare ourselves to other people, and we don't like certain things about ourselves. I tell my daughter, I said, learn to love you. Don't compare yourself to nobody. Embrace who you are. Embrace, the things about you. If it's something you can change it. If you can't change it, accept it and embrace it.
Absolutely. And
I've had to, I'm 44 years old, and I'm teaching myself stuff that's the reason why I'm having these conversations, because I'm like, why the older people didn't talk about this kind of stuff?
The same reason why a lot of people don't talk about it now. Fear, embarrassment, those type of things. Mm-hmm. But when you get to talking to other people, you realize their situation is either similar or worse than what you went through or going through. Mm-hmm. Everybody's going through or has went through something. And if they say they haven't, they lying.
Yeah, and that's why I said, I don't have no shame, and that's why I encourage it, and that's why I take a stance to share my life from a humble, transparent, and vulnerable place, because so many of us, like I said, be oppressive on the outside, impressive on the outside, and oppressed behind closed doors. And I lived that life for a long time myself. And I was like, if I have to take this stance, and God gave me this idea to speak from a humble, transparent, and vulnerable place, and open a platform for people to be able to speak, to help those, to help people, to have conversations with people that I wish somebody would have had.
That would be right.
And like you said, like you were putting your daily posts, is those conversations you've had with yourself.
Right.
They make us feel some type of way, because if we say you talk to yourself, I talk to myself. Right.
But these was things I had to say to myself, and I said, let me share this, because you just never know.
Right.
Who, and a lot of my posts been shared. A lot of times I've had people actually message me, keep doing what you're doing. You should actually start a motivational page, this, that, and the third. But to me, they're just life lessons. Mm-hmm. These are things that I've gone through. These are things that I'm going through. And this is just what I have learned from these things. Mm-hmm. And it's okay.
It is.
I'm not beating myself up about nothing anymore. It's okay.
Mm-hmm. It's okay. It is. It choosing you, from hurt to healing, because like you said, you don't want to continue to go out there in this world and hurt yourself. And that's what we have shared with you all today, is that the pattern of the world is we tend to deal with our hurt by never heal it and continue to jumping from one relationship to the other. And I do a lot of studying too because I have a lot of compassion for people. What I've discovered is the world is full of hurt people.
It is. And hurt people hurt people. So if you, that's just like me, I'm not healed, and I meet somebody. Could be a nice guy that could want to see something with me long term. So me being hurt, I'm going first of all be resistant to fully give myself to him because of everything I've been going through. If I do, I'm taking all this baggage. He doing a sentence for a crime that he didn't even commit. You know how fair is that? So it's not fair to him, and it's not fair to myself. So that's why I said it's important to fully heal and get to know you before you step out there and meet. Just being honest and transparent. I'm not ready for that.
Right.
I'm not ready to be dating. I'm not ready to be talking on the phone with nobody. My phone 100% of the time stay on do not disturb, and that's the best thing that I ever discovered. If I don't want to talk, I don't answer the phone. If I don't want to be bothered, I don't answer the phone. It's just different. I don't have the notifications from email, this, then the other. Like, I check them when I get ready. It's just a different place that I'm in right now. But it took everything that I went through to get me here. And like I said, I honestly wouldn't trade anything for it. Like I'm trying activities. Like this past weekend I went camping, and people was like, we went camping. Yeah, it's different. It was something that it's actually my third time going, but it's something I enjoyed. It was just the piece of just the scenery, the nature. It couldn't have been perfect weather, just somewhere to go, ease my mind, relax, just enjoy myself. I was able to knock some stuff off my bucket list that I had. Like I said, when somebody posed a question to me months ago, what some things that you want to do that you had never done? What X/hatchet throwing was on it. I was able to knock something off my list this weekend. So I was excited about that. Doing little small things for me, and I'm just enjoying, where I'm trusting the process. You got to trust the process, even when you don't understand, why I'm going through this, why this happened to me. You got to trust the process because when you get on the other side, it's gonna all be worth it.
Right.
It's gonna all be worth it.
And I thank you for saying that, trusting the process, because it's definitely a road to recovery.
Yeah, it's a process. It's like when you're going through a breakup, it's actually almost like a death. You're grieving somebody who's still alive. You're grieving the loss of somebody who's still in your life. And like for me, both of my parents are deceased, so I know the impact of losing people important to you. So I never even thought about getting married. So to actually do it and then not work, that was just kind of like, like, okay, like what the hell, But at the same time, I experienced it. Would I ever do it again? If I was asked this question right now, I would say no, but I don't know how I may feel in 5 years or 2 years or 3 years. I'm just answering the question from a right now point of view. Like I said, my whole life has been based around other people, and I'm just now basing my life around me.
I understand.
And so, like I said, I'm enjoying it. I'm traveling, just doing the things that I just hadn't been able to do.
Right. Like you said, getting to know self.
Right.
And that is something that I think we live so long. And I put a post that there's young ladies, don't wait until you get to your 40s to learn your worth. Don't wait until you get to your 40s to get to know yourself. Like, that's the reason why, like, my whole message, my legacy, my mission in life is to encourage young people, to allow my life as a testimony to just motivate the masses. Like, that's the vision I see for myself, is to the things I've been through. I didn't go through them to not share them, to empower. I didn't go through them to sit back and be shame about it, be bitter about it, be resentful about it. No, I went through this to make me better, because I was reading another article, like they said, anytime you go through something hard, haven't you noticed it grows you stronger spiritually?
Yes.
You know, and so, I'm like, okay, God, use me. If this was the route I had to take, I think about when you have a wound on your hand, like you said, you got to trust the process, even when the scab look like it's not healing.
Right.
You got to trust the process.
Right.
Everything is a process.
Right.
I've been working on, Shannon, I've been working on totally surrendering, like totally surrendering to the good, because I look at God as good, and we look at it and we say, we look at things that the karma that comes back on us. God is the energy. It's the energy that we put out here in the world.
Right.
So if it starts with self, and what energy I put out and allow in my aura to protect the Holy Spirit that lives within me. The Spirit lives in us.
Right.
It lives in us. So if it starts with self, just think, and this is me talking to whatever viewer, just think if you make that decision right now, at this moment, to make it about yourself. Because we weren't conditioned like that. We were conditioned to focus on everything else and focus on everybody. Like you said, that's why so much stuff out here in the world, we point the finger at what somebody else doing. We drawn to negativity, what's going on the outside, all in the world, because we were never conditioned to look at self.
Right.
Because when you look at self, it's some work.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's the hardest job.
It's the hardest job because, again, it's about accountability. And a lot of people don't want to do that, just like me. I had to say, well, yeah, my husband did X, Y, Z, but okay, okay, for Shannon, it's time for you to look in the mirror and look at yourself and what you could have done different, or what, like I said, it was an uncomfortable realization that I had to have, but it was needed, so yeah, it's definitely, like I said, I don't know no other way but to say trust the process. Like,
trust the process. I like that. I'm walking out of here with that today. Definitely trust the process, and I'm gonna meditate on it. What I'm learning too, I have to meditate. A lot. One thing I found is that to sit in total silence and listen to what your thoughts saying. To no phone, like you said. I love nature too. For that, I love nature. I love to get in touch with nature, because we are all connected. But you just sit in silence. I did a video one time. That little voice that nobody hears.
Yeah.
Train it to sit in silence. That's the reason why we meditate. We meditate to see what that little voice is saying, because we should be in alliance with that little voice. That we should train that little voice, because if we don't train that little voice, it will betray us.
Right.
And I'm so in tune with the Holy Spirit and allowing, and God, and totally surrendering and work, just my relationship with God in my life, in my healing journey, is more important than anything, because I do speak healthy relationships over my life, because that's all we are. That's all we are, Shane. We can't take none of this materialistic stuff with us. We can't take, none of this. But I live on through this conversation we having right now. I live on. If I die tomorrow, you'd be like, "Hey, me and Yolanda had this conversation." So when I discovered that healthy relationships matter, that's all I'm creating now in life. If it's not healthy, I'm gonna be like the little children. I don't want to be your friend.
Right. And that's all relationships.
All
relationships. Business relationships. All. Like I said, when you set in boundaries, you have to set boundaries in every aspect of your life. I probably have put more time days off this year than I have in years. and it's okay.
Mm-hmm.
Because if something happened to me, guess what? They're gonna have my job posted
Mm-hmm.
before my family got my funeral arrangements
Mm-hmm.
together. Not saying that they wouldn't miss me as an employee, but it's okay to spend time with my family. It's okay to do stuff
Mm-hmm.
for me, or
Mm-hmm.
or however. It's okay to set boundaries in friendships.
Mm-hmm.
Every friendship,
Yeah.
every friend in your life is not gonna serve the same purpose. You may have a friend that you can vent to
Mm-hmm.
or feel comfortable talking to without judgment. Then you may have another friend who is a friend that like to travel all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Then you may have this friend that would like to party and go out all the time. Every friend ain't gonna serve the same purpose.
Mm-hmm.
So you also learn to treat people accordingly.
Mm-hmm. I've had to learn that too.
Yeah, you have to treat people accordingly to how they fall in your life. Sometimes we want to put people a place in our life where they don't belong. They may belong over here, but we trying to put them over there. So it's a learning process. We never too old to learn stuff.
Mm-hmm.
We you learn stuff every day, whether it's about others or yourself. It's something to be learned every day. I'm a big person that's on finding the positive in the negative. Even in the most negative of situation, it's a positive there. Even if it take you a lot of digging to see it's there.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just a person that just try to uh not I try to be in a good mood all the time. I have my days, but for the most part, I don't watch I just don't like a whole lot of negative stuff.
I don't watch the news.
I don't watch the news, so a lot of times I don't even be knowing what be going on. And then people be kind, you see what happened, such, because that's not how I want to start my morning. I don't want to start my morning. Not saying that stuff don't happen and I'm trying to block what's going on in the world. No, but I don't want that to be what's the first thing.
Set your mood. It can set your mood. Yep, and that's what I'm practicing. I'm practicing to put a practice into place. Like you said, start the day with a positive motivational speech. Like I roll over in the morning. I go to church every day. I go to church every day. Like when I say I go to church every day for reading my Bible, to listening to a sermon. That's how I start off. I drink my water. I got a case of water by the bed. Erykah Badu, she said the elements that we need to feel good, and that's exercise. And I must say, when I do these things, I do feel better mentally. Exercise, sun, we got to watch what we put in our body, and plenty of water, and watch what we do with our energy. Like those are practices that I'm putting in place. That to put in place, because like I said, I'm living a conscious life. I'm not living from a subconscious place anymore. Like I see myself when I reflect back of a subconscious place on autopilot. That was because when we born, all the conditioning that's done on us, society don't even realize we were conditioned. Like we don't even realize that a lot of stuff we do is because what we watch. I didn't realize it until I watched my grandkids. Like they mimic the stuff we do in our family. When I say they are little bitty sponges that are just mimicking little stuff,
everything.
Just mimicking little stuff that we do. And when I hear them say it, it be triggers to me now because I live consciously. And I'm like, oh my God, I got to watch what I do around my grandchild. Like the other night I had them up here, they were like, we finna go to the club. This is what they hear people say. So, when you get to that place, like you say on that healing journey, you're also discovering that a lot of stuff you were doing because you were programmed. Right. You were programmed to tolerate. You were programmed to do this. You were programmed to, And so now I'm living conscious. Like you said, this a long time makes you realize that. It makes you realize that now I'm stepping out. And my motto, I'm creating like a woman. I had to come in, like the Bible said, do not conform to the patterns of the world, but be transformed by the renewal of your mind. Okay. It's in the word. It's like when you really read the word for yourself, you like, oh man, I was a pattern. I had conformed. Like I literally had conformed. And that's why I say now I'm not of the world, because, like you said, the social media, the just the whole pressure
And think we
on.
didn't even have it. So when
Mhm.
we was growing up
Mhm.
and in middle school and high school, they
Mhm.
didn't have it. I
It
can
was just
only
peer pressure
it was
we
just peer
had.
pressure. Now you
Mhm.
have the internet and
Mhm.
you having to dress or something. You having,
Mhm.
it's different. So these girls and guys nowadays have it way much more
Mhm.
harder than we did because and then it's like everything is put out for show. So like,
Mhm.
back in the day, if you had a fight or something, it was just hearsay. Oh, well, I heard so got beat
Mhm.
up or blah blah blah. Now
Mhm.
you got people, everybody recording your every move,
Mhm.
everything. So everything is put on display for show for the world to see. Like nothing's off limit, nothing's private, nothing's
Mhm.
like that
Like they
anymore.
said, they how that preacher put it, he said they trying to get fame, whatever they can do to get fame, to get likes, to get views.
Right.
It's it's a whole different. We went through a whole new world order from everything that we've gone through. It's a whole different outlook, perspective on how we live now, and so I can relate to you, like I said, with nature and disconnecting.
Yeah. I mean, like I said,
Disconnecting.
it couldn't have not been perfect weather. Uh, it was 80, but it was really shady. So then at night it was 60 something. So it was
Nice.
cool. Yeah, it was cool for like a little small fire, but good sleeping weather. Like
You sound nice. It's
it,
peaceful.
it was peaceful. It was peaceful. It was really nice. I really enjoyed. My baby enjoyed it. He asked my supervisor, when we going back, when the next trip? But she's like, we'll probably go in the fall. It's gonna get hot.
Mm-hmm.
So it's gonna be too hot for tent camping right now. But when fall come back up, we'll plan another one. But like I said, and it's okay to do stuff that you're not used to doing. Like even me, like in my self-care box, I got going to an art museum, just doing
Mm-hmm.
stuff other than going to a club
Mm-hmm.
or going to get drinks. That stuff cool, but just training my mind or educate my mind to look at other stuff or do other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
If you wanna expand and meet different people, you got to
Mm-hmm.
put yourself in
Out
different
there,
places, in
environments.
different environments.
Yeah. And that's, like I tell people, that's how I got my whole brand. But some call me bougie, some call me wild. Because the things I like, I'm diverse. I'm a very diverse person. Don't put me in no box. Don't put me in no box to be one way. I'm a well-rounded person. I like, I'm a,
And that's good. You can adapt into any
in the environment,
situation. In
right?
any situation. If
Mm-hmm.
you go to some hood, you will be right okay.
Right,
But you go to something more upscale and
right.
classy, you will be okay. It's basically
It's
it's
a
nowhere
balance. Right,
you wouldn't fit in,
right. And,
and that's a good thing.
it's being who I am. Like
It's
it's
nothing
being
fake.
who
It's
I
nothing.
it's
It's
not
just
right.
being
It's
your natural
just
self.
being
You
my
just
natural
adjusting
self.
to whatever.
Right,
And that's a
right,
good thing because guess what? A lot of people can't do that.
right. And that's what I'm like. I mean, and the older I get, Shannon, like you said, I like to, like you said, art museums, getting out and networking, meeting people, doing things different than just the club. The club is so,
We did that if 16,
yeah,
17. When we did that, we probably weren't supposed to do it.
right.
So now it
And
ain't
so we
even
so burnt
nothing.
out to
Yeah.
where, like you said, traveling. I booked a cruise today because I hadn't been on a cruise since coronavirus. And me and my kids, we were cruising. They so excited that I went and got vaccinated. It was like, Mama, it's time to get vaccinated. And I was very reluctant about it. But they like, Mama, it's time to get back to living. And we got to get this shot, for us to continue to live. And so, you know, I raised them to be well diverse and to be well rounded and to, be open minded. Have you ever listened to Wayne Dyer?
Mm-mm.
Girl, listen to the 10 Principles of Inner Peace by Wayne Dyer.
Okay.
Oh my God. Are you ready? Like, when I'm gonna have to inbox to you, write
Yeah,
it down
please
because
do. Yeah.
I'm telling you, it's a whole, you gonna
Because I
call me
have
and say,
ordered a lot of books, different books, on healing, a lot of just devotionals for
mm-hmm,
women of color, just stuff like that. Like I said, I'm just trying to put do stuff different for me, to
Mhm.
do the self-care and dating myself and loving
Mhm.
myself, those are type of things that I'm working on. So I used to be an avid reader all the time, kind of feel back from it. But since I've been on this journey, it's something that I've picked back up,
Mhm.
finding just like different books, ways to simplify your life,
Mhm.
whether decluttering your space at home, getting rid of stuff,
Purge. I've
just
been purging from crying to getting rid of stuff to just letting it go. Letting it go.
yeah.
Letting it go. If it causes me irritation, aggravation, frustration, I let it go. Like, I got some Bougie Wild stuff that I had bought, and when I first started the brand, I got so much of it now, and my spirit been telling me, Yolanda, just have a Bougie Wild day and just let it go. Like, because I'm at this point in my life, like you said, it's about peace. It's about peace, and from organization to mental organization. Right.
And that's even cluttering your space. I didn't realize that. So I read that somewhere. They was like, peace in affecting your mental is even your space, your living quarters, getting rid of stuff. If you ain't used it in this amount of time, get rid of it. If you haven't worn it in this amount of time, get rid of it. You ain't gonna even miss it. Stuff like that. And I've even done that, like purging my closet, getting rid of stuff. And of course, I love to thrift, so I done accumulate stuff back, but I need to redo it again. But like, you got too much stuff. Like,
I'm a thrifter too, and I understand. So yeah, I oh my God, I purged a lot. Like I said, I've been in the purging season for a while now, and I'm okay. And my sister asked me today, she said, "Are you okay?" I said, "Yeah, I'm okay." I tell people, yeah, I cry a lot. I'm just, I'm healing though. Growth hurts.
It does.
Growth hurts.
It does.
But I cannot. I mean, I welcome it because I think about the rain. I just reflect on when it rains, and after that rain, baby, the next after rainy season, it be spring and summer.
Right.
So I'm just looking forward to that. Yeah. I'm looking forward to that. So I want to thank you today so much for coming,
for having me
out and talking. And like I said, I thank the viewers for y'all having patience with me as I'm learning as much as I can, because I have embarked upon becoming an entrepreneur. That's one thing that I took a risk on stepping out, on my journey. And that is just, doing all the things that I was afraid of doing. I'm like, Yolanda, you only live once. If you fail at it, get up and try again. Right. So, I just hope that you all receive something from this Transparent Table Talk, because it's been an awesome conversation.
Absolutely.
Shannon left us with some great nuggets. She said that, self-help, self-love, and you said your self-care jar. That's awesome. I'm gonna have to do that. That's a great tool. And like you said, trust in the process. I left you that's a great nugget that you put out. And like she said, just getting to know yourself, doing new things, setting boundaries. We want to make sure that we understand that the healing process is establishing boundaries and being accountable. Right. The healing process is being accountable, and like I said, live a conscious life, and just take the necessary steps to love on you. So this choose you first. Choose you first. I love that. And so we're gonna close out and say again, Bougie Wild coming to you all from a humble, transparent, and a vulnerable place. We have no shame, we bear no blame, because we all are the same and we go through the same things. So just know this: you are not alone. You are not alone. So we're gonna close out again with From Hurt to Healing. Hurt to Healing. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.